Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom. I'm board certified in addiction medicine and family medicine, and I have practiced in Southwest Virginia and East Tennessee now for over 30 years. I'm also a person in long-term recovery from opiate use disorder, and I have over 21 years in the program. Today, we're going to talk about basic neuroscience, basic neurochemistry. We get questions all the time. How does this medicine work? What are neurotransmitters? What are neuroreceptors? Well, let's take a look at basic anatomy, basic neuroreceptors, and we'll give you some basic information on how a lot of these different chemicals work in the brain. So let's start with just a basic summary. Going to be basic. I said that enough times. Neuron. What is a neuron? A neuron is a brain cell. In your brain, you have 3.5 pounds of goo. In fact, it's made up of neurons. It's made up of neurons plus all of the support cells that support the neurons. So you have 150 billion of these neurons or brain cells, and they fire and work to communicate and send information all throughout your brain, form memories, allow you to function. So each neuron in your brain talks to other neurons, and it talks to the other neurons. It gets information from the other neurons through dendrites. Dendrites are the receivers. They receive information, and they send that information to the neuron, which then fires, and it sends a signal down the axon, and the axon goes to the next dendrite. And where they talk to each other is called a synapse. The synapse is the place where the axon from one cell hits the dendrite of another cell and allows the information to go forward. They talk to each other with neurochemicals. Neurochemicals, neuropeptides, neurotransmitters, dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, glutamate. All of these are neurotransmitters that are released into the synapse to allow one neuron to talk to another neuron. Now, the axons have a special coating on them called myelin that cause them to be able to move and fire faster. This is the basic anatomy of how the inside of the brain works. Now, to put this in perspective, let's draw a little picture. Let's say you got one little neuron here with one axon and a bunch of dendrites, right? And then you got another neuron here with one axon talking to this one and a bunch of dendrites. And by the time you have put 150 billion of these together, each of them with 7 other connections to 7 other neurons, you have this giant neural net that all fires and allows you to be a conscious, sentient human being surviving inside of a bag of bones and water, and allow you to be aware to hear this conversation. That, my friend, is complicated. Nobody understands what's going on inside the human brain, but I'm giving you the basics here of when we're talking about drugs and neurochemicals and where they work and how they work inside the brain. Everything is based on this concept of neurons, axons, dendrites, synapses, and neurochemicals talking to each other. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Reeds. Please tune in for the next part of this series. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Right? So if you take a drug called a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, what that does is it causes the serotonin to stay in the synaptic cleft a little bit longer before it's sucked back into the cell. So the way it happens is the axon is stimulated, the serotonin shoots out into the synaptic cleft, and it's pretty well picked right back up by the end of the axon in milliseconds. These are measured in